Formula One has gone from a sport for hardcore fans to a global entertainment brand. And you've been right at the center of that. What do you think sparked that transformation?
Ultimately, it was Liberty Media's takeover of the series in 2017. A large media conglomerate is obviously going to tap into all the cultural things that it needs to get as wide an audience as it can. And the first thing they did was really peel back some of the layers, some of the exclusivity that existed in Formula One and make it accessible to people, both through things like Drive to Survive series, social media growth, allowing teams to be creators, allowing us to film in the paddock, and really kind of show behind the scenes, show what life is properly like in Formula One. And off the back of that, not only do you still get the drama of the action on track, but you actually get the personalities and the emotion that comes with the sport. So that was the single biggest driver, that change of ownership and that realization that we need to make Formula One relevant and expand its global footprint.
The Drive to Survive series really changed how people connected with F1. It humanized a world built on machines and data. Did you expect that kind of emotional impact from a show about racing?
I did because I was kind of behind the scenes for a lot of it. I was there, so I could see how invested they were in terms of the personalities and showcasing those personalities. Data sheets, performance-driven analysis does not make for a sexy or exciting television show, especially when you're trying to reach a broad audience. It might tick the box for some of the hardcore audience, but obviously the whole remit for Drive to Survive was really open up Formula One to a whole new world, and it's been successful in doing that. So the fact that they focus on those personalities, basically from the driving standpoint, the helmets came off, people could actually see who they were cheering for, and the difference now is people cheer for drivers as well as teams, and some people have a favorite driver and they have a favorite team, and they could be different entities in that respect. You might support Charles Leclerc, but you're also traditionally a McLaren fan, but you like Charles because you've maybe been exposed to him through Drive to Survive. You see his socials, you see him playing the piano, you see him hanging out with his brother, you get that lifestyle element. So it's opened up that audience, but without the emotion, without the drama. And yes, they've kind of created some narratives where there's maybe some rivalries that aren't quite as they are in real life, but that's entertainment. And the thing they always told me was that they're trying to reach Kathy in Kansas. They're trying to get somebody who's sat in front of their TV with the remote control thinking, what am I going to watch? Drive to Survive, that looks interesting. And it's very bingeable, it's very watchable. But it doesn't necessarily mean you then become a hardcore Formula One fan either. You might just like Drive to Survive for the TV show that it is. So it allows people to just get involved in it without necessarily having to be what we would call a hardcore fan. But in terms of as an entry point for a lot of new fans into the sport, it's huge.
You think Schumacher would have liked this new system?
I think some of the older drivers that we have now, they're still a little bit old guard. They don't see it. The new drivers embrace things because they've grown up with social media. They understand, listen, I'm a brand now. I can get myself out. I used to do a lot of work with young drivers, and I used to have to pitch them to media and sell their story and sell their background and get that third-party endorsement and put people in front of each other. Now with social media, these kids can promote themselves and they can create their own following. If they're savvy enough, they can build that following to the point before they're even in, say, Formula One, they have a substantial following. The old guard maybe care a little less. They just want to go racing, but they can't deny that all their personal partners, everybody wants to tap into that social engagement audience because it's a much younger audience now. It's a much larger female audience as well. So for brands and consumer brands in particular, that level of following is huge. They want to engage with that. It's no longer just stickers on a race car. So the old guys, I mean, yeah, they may not have embraced it as much as the new guys do, and there are still some challenges there. But at the end of the day, it's part of the mass ecosystem that is Formula One, and whether they want to buy into it or not, the train has left the station.
Technology now drives everything in F1, from car performance to fan engagement. As communications director, how do you balance storytelling and speed, data and emotions? Or maybe you already said something about that, especially in this new beyond AI world.
I mean, where AI comes in Formula One, it's still very new. It's as our chief technical director described it, as it's on the hype curve at the moment. We're still waiting to see where it's really going to land. For a small team like Haas, it's got that ability to kind of multitask and do jobs that maybe we haven't got the personnel to do. I think from a software standpoint, it can take a lot of the heavy lifting, so our personnel can look at other things. If it's just data mapping or software development, it can do a lot of the boring stuff to allow our personnel to focus on other areas. I think it will come to areas as well as strategy, elements like that, where just computing power will help. I don't think we're going to see it across or touch any points where humans are involved in terms of driving the car, team personnel, safety, those elements. There's obviously a lot of talk about will all cars look the same if all cars are just designed by AI, and obviously you want to still have that human input. It's the star designers like Adrian Newey, those people who still draw some things with an old school drafts board. Those guys still have a massive input into Formula One. So it'd be a shame if everything just went completely down that route. And I don't think it will. And I think AI would even be smart enough to come up with different designs. So it's a brave new world out there at the moment. And yes, Formula One has always been very performance driven. It's the peak of motorsport. It's the pinnacle technology, in terms of even back in the 80s, the building of carbon fiber chassis, that it's been a driver for a lot of those things, which has translated then into the automotive sector as well. But we always use the latest technology where we can. So at the moment, I think it's still a case of it's too early to say where exactly it's going to land, but is it there and is it being utilized at the moment? 100%.
But don't you think it's going to be, I think I mentioned this to you before. Some people say that it's boring now because AI does everything. They'll calculate, no more of the drivers risking things about the tires or anything.
No,
Say to that.
I say that's not true because at the end of the day, we still put a human in the car. The human in the car has got to drive the wheels off this piece of technology. And that's where the drama comes. That's where the excitement comes. And as long as Formula One doesn't veer away from all the entertainment and the showbiz side and just remembers that the heart is a racing product and it's humans racing the cars, that will always be the most important thing in that respect.
Is Formula One, I mean, do you study, demographics and everything?
Yeah, we look at demographics, and obviously, the hardcore base or Haas fans at the moment is in the United States. It's in the United Kingdom. It's an American-owned team yet, but we have a base in the UK. We have a base in Italy as well. So our top two countries are obviously the United States, United Kingdom, but we're seeing more and more now that Formula One has got a wider global footprint. So even places like Cyprus, there are definitely fans here. I hope there are fans here. If not, I'm not going to have much of an audience today, but it's the case. But it's accessible. That's the thing. It's accessible through things like the F1 TV app. There's that platform. Digital media, at the moment they're saying 60% of F1 fans engage with digital media, social media on a daily basis. So you don't need to wait until a Sunday just to catch a Formula One fix. You can respond and you can engage with it at any time. And that helps build the fandom. Then obviously it builds up your tribe, your community of people. If you're all Charles Leclerc fans or Lewis Hamilton fans, you can engage with those other people. So fandom is really what's driving the growth of Formula One as well. And you can do that now in this day and age at any time. The younger generation in particular are huge at doing that, and just it's part of their nature now. There's kind of, I don't want to say they've grown up with phones in their hands, but they're very tech savvy, they're comfortable with it. So to be able to spread a message or to buy into a brand is far, far easier now. In the old days, you would have to rely on third-party media endorsement, or you would literally be waiting every 2 weeks for a Grand Prix to come on a Sunday. And then until that, you might buy a motorsport magazine the following week, and then you would get the other result. Now,
and then you'd have to wake up early in the morning to watch a Singapore Grand Prix.
Absolutely, time zones play a massive factor. That's why in America it was always a challenge, because with the European races and farther away races. So the hardcore fans will always make that commitment because they're there. It's in their blood. But for other people now, and the casual fan, it's just a lot easier to engage with the sport, as it is with every entertainment platform or sports platform, but Formula One in particular, because it's developed from such a low starting point when Liberty took over. That acceleration of that fandom has grown exponentially over the last 10 years as well.
So American team, huh? And another American team coming in, you said?
Yes, that's right. We've got Cadillac coming in next year, and they're very much following our business model. They have a technical alliance with Ferrari. They have a base in Silverstone. They have a base in North Carolina as well. So there's a lot of similarities. There's some trading of staff that have gone on from one to the other as well. But from our perspective, it's a case of we've already been in the sport for 10 years, so we've benefited from that. We kind of know what we're doing. We had the pressure of coming in as the new guys 10 years ago, and nobody gave us much kudos, but we scored points in our first couple of races. So there are opportunities. You should never discount a newcomer in that respect, but the sport has moved on. Technically, it's a lot harder to just come in and be fast straight away. But we welcome competition on and off the track. The fact that they're an American brand, we're competing in a global business, we're looking for global sponsors. Cadillac as a brand is coming into it because they want to take that reach into China, into Asia. It's not about just being big in America. And they are obviously a globally known brand right off the get-go, but they still have to prove themselves. So it will be interesting to see their journey. But in terms of, we hope they're behind us naturally, in the same way that we hope a lot of the midfield is behind us. But we welcome the competition, and the fact that there is a second American-based team is a good thing. And again, it shows you the success levels of Formula One, where 7, 8, 10 years ago, you wouldn't even have imagined that there'd be 3 Formula One races, 2 teams. It's a case of the fact that Formula One is at that point now is huge.
Yeah, and just to final point, Some diehards are going to think the Americans coming into Formula One is sacrilegious.
Well, but we need to call ourselves a global sport. So it's a case of the America's been such an untapped market for Formula One. The fact that Liberty Media now promote the Las Vegas Grand Prix themselves is there to stay. They know their onions, as we say in Great Britain, and it's a case of that market to tap into it is huge. And I've seen it myself from going to Coda, 10, 11 years ago when you'd have 200,000 fans. Now we go and there's 400,000 fans there. So year on year, there's that increase in actual fans attending the race, but just the growth of the sport in general.
Good for Formula One.
It's fantastic for Formula One. There's a new TV deal in the offing for next year as well. Apple are looking at being the main securer of those rights, potentially $150 million deal as opposed to ESPN's previous deal, which was peanuts in comparison. So the fact that a company like Apple is prepared to go into live sports, look at Formula One as being a property that's going to develop their platform as well. It's massive, and you just couldn't have imagined it 10 years ago. We're at the point now where turnover for the sport is over $3 billion. The franchises alone, I mean, we're the smallest team, but the value on our team, if you're to try and buy it, is probably 1.5 billion, being conservative at the moment. McLaren is just valued at over $3 billion through their investment scheme that they just had. So it's a tremendous time for Formula One. It's never been bigger.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good luck on your presentation.
Thank you.